Hey, Jim Wallace here with lessons from Robin Williams' Suicide. You know, we are all connected, and there is a huge ripple effect from every suicide. You would think that someone who dies by suicide would have a family who grieved, and they do. But what happens is that we all grieve when someone dies by suicide. Everyone that hears about it, everyone that knows about it. And with this particular death, there has been an enormous ripple effect across the nation and I think across the world. Robin Williams was an iconic figure beloved by all, and I guess that it's no surprise that many people would grieve, but the outpouring of sympathy and grief for his family and for his death has been enormous. I can remember people that I know who died decades ago by suicide, and I think about them and I wonder what would have happened had they lived. I think about the loss in productivity and joy and all kind of things that might have occurred in their life and in the lives of their family members and in the life of people that knew them, people like me. And even though it's been many years since they died, I still miss them, and I mourn their loss, and I grieve for them. And Robin Williams was beloved by millions of people, and I think that it's very natural that we would all have so much grief for him. I think he taught us so much. I think that one of the major things about his death is that we are learning that all of us live in the same emotional world. He made movies such as Good Morning Vietnam, which were set in the hellholes of war, but he managed to find within those settings laughter and joy and happiness and share that with us in a way that was remarkable. But we all saw within him and within his life and within his comedy and within his movies a certain amount of grief and despair and unhappiness. And I think part of his genius was connecting the negative side of life and the positive side of life in a way that touched us all and made sense to all of us, because all of us share happiness and joy and sorrow and grief in mixtures that don't always make very much sense to us, and all of us are vulnerable to all of those human feelings in ways that we may not always like and may not always appreciate and sometimes aren't even aware of, but now we are very aware of them because of his death. I think talking about it helps. I think talking about suicide helps. And in the days since Robin Williams died, there's been a great deal of talk about suicide, much more so than with the death of any other public figure that I can remember, even though some of them died by suicide. We've also talked a lot about depression. Depression is a brain disease, and I've heard that phrase in the last few days much more than I've heard it in the last couple of years. It's brought to the forefront the fact that depression is a disease. We've also talked, many people have, about their own personal despair and about the depressive episodes that they've had and about the near misses they've had with suicide in their own lives and in their own families. And I think people are talking very candidly about life and about the options that we all have and about the limits to the options that we all have. In some ways, his death has been a loss for all of us because our tribe has been diminished, our clan, our family. And even though we're not even distant cousins, we feel like family. But the most important thing to me about the death of Robin Williams by suicide is that it points out to me that I hope and I pray that I never have occasion again to know anyone who dies by suicide. None of us want any more deaths by suicide. None of us want to report to anyone that someone we know has killed themselves. None of us want to have to say, there's something that I could have done, but I didn't do it. This has been Jim Wallis talking about lessons from the suicide of Robin Williams. I will return again to talk about how suicide strikes everywhere. Thank you.